All right, this episode of Jocks and Jills is brought to you by Shark Ninja. We're big fans of all three of their brands, Shark Beauty, Shark Home, and Ninja Kitchen. Everyone on social media is raving about the viral Ninja Creamy, and obviously for good reason. Who doesn't like some healthy ice cream? But have you heard of the brand new Ninja Swirl by Creamy? We both need to get our hands on one this summer, Tessa. We were already sending it back and forth. It is an absolute need, not a want. It combines the same churning energy and technology of the original ice cream maker with a soft serve dispenser. We make it soft serve at home this summer. Thank you very much to Shark Ninja for sponsoring this episode. Every episode of Jocks and Jills, Shark Ninja is a proud founding partner of the PWHL. All right, episode 32, Jocks and Jills. Here we go, Tessa. Here we go. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, a lot of fun stuff happening. One, I'm wearing Aerin Ambrose's new Pride line from CCM. Really excited to get that in the mail. I feel like, I don't know if I'm like letting a cat out of the bag with this because I haven't seen it posted on social media yet, the new version of this sweater, but teaser if I am. And I'm bearing the lead. The sweater is amazing, but Tessa, your location is even better.
Coming at you live from the Wolf Den in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. That's all my kids do. Ow! The whole time. Like they wake up, it's not a mom and dad, it's just a howl. Yeah, I've been living every kid's dreams and most parents' nightmare.
My dream as well, as you know.
Your dream. Honestly, it hasn't been that bad. Listen, if anybody's planning on coming here, you can rent a hot tub cabana for the day. And look, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is expensive for the day. Can I tell you something? It is not expensive because the hot tubs here aren't hot. They're just like a warm tub. It's like a bathtub. Okay. So your kids can swim in it the whole time, which our kids did because we had done all the water slides, all the other stuff the day before, right? So it's like when we got tired of our location, we'd dip out and go out. We had a butler. We were ordering double margaritas, some pina coladas. We had pizza delivered. We had slushies. It was like we were having the time of our lives. It was the greatest. That's how you get by, people. When you come here, you do half day at the water park. The next day, you have it the whole day. You just rent the cabana. It's worth it. Every other parent is looking up at you, look like you're a genius, and you're like, I know, this is awesome. We did a good thing. But our first day here, there's like a dance party in the evening.
Yeah.
And I was kind of talking to Ed about, I can't remember what. Anyways, the kids were ripping around, dancing, acting a fool. And this random kid comes up to me and he taps me on my arm and I look over, I'm like, hi, like thinking, oh gosh, this kid's lost. Cause I teach my kids, like if you're ever lost, go find another mother that has children. That's who you go get. You find other kids and you find their mom. And he's like, hey, I'm like, hi. He's like, go blue. And I was like, pardon me? And he's like, go blue. Like right in my face. I'm like, what? Go Bucks. Who told you to say that? And he started laughing. He ran away. He's like, my dad. And he ran by his dad and pointed right at him and like totally sewered his dad. I was like, no. I'm like, well played, sir. Well played. And he was like, go blue, and walked away. I wanted to get this guy's name because it was like such a play. Anyways, that's how my time started here. I was like, oh man.
That's hilarious.
I'm exposed. Like this kid knows me. This dad knows me. They're already ripping on me.
And the dad didn't acknowledge it after? He just like laughed from a distance? He just continued on?
No, he like gave me a wave, laughed and gave me a go blue and then walked away. I wanted to know his name and shake his hand and maybe buy him a beer, but whatever. He was dipping out, but it was so funny. And then the other thing, Annie lately has sticky fingers. So she is like straight up klepto.
Oh, I didn't know if you were going to mean like she has dirty hands all the time or she actually is stealing stuff. I didn't know where you were going with that.
Both, likely. Yeah. We're always wiping them down. But so we went to go get we got this pass. So they get this stuffy made. So we go to get the stuffy and there's like this bin of rocks that look like gems. So I'm like, okay, we're waiting in line patiently. Annie's turn comes up and a couple little gems fall out of her pockets. So I'm like, no, okay, like let's put these back, get her to put them back. And then empty both pockets, which were packed. And then other kids are getting their stuffies made. Annie's walking around. She wants this like little pink like makeup bag thing. I'm like, no, please put that back. And earlier she had shown my brother-in-law, Sean, these like big marbles that she wanted. I'm like, put it back. She's like, I'll hide it for when we come back here again and we can get it. I'm like, sure, whatever. So she puts it at the base of this display. And then she proceeds to take out those giant sized marbles out of her pocket, which I didn't even realize were in there. So my brother-in-law and I were like, okay, hold on, before you leave. We literally gave her like a pat down. And I felt really bad that we were like totally trying to bust my, but I don't want to steal anything. Like I didn't want to be that person, you know what I mean? Like who just lets their kid walk out of a store after showing them that they've tried to steal 3 times.
Now you gotta check her.
Crazy. So then the dance party comes in the evening and they have these like little glow up swords and bubble ball things that blow bubbles around. And like the kids all love them and it's a big bubble dance party. So I had been out of the mix for a minute and I come back and Annie's running around with one and Theo also has a sword. I'm like, Ed, like you didn't have to buy them those. Like they're getting enough stuff. He's like, well, you got Annie one. So I had to get Theo one. And I'm like, I never got Annie one. And he's like, well, who did? So I'm like, I'm like looking at my sister to see if her kids have one. She didn't. She just straight up walked to the stand, took one and walked away. So Ed assumed that somebody got her.
Gotten her one or somebody
no,
had.
And she got, Annie got herself one. So we were like, we are so sorry. Can we pay for another one? Our daughter has it over there on the other side of the room and has had it for the past hour. Anyway, so that's the latest. We're going to have to teach her what money is and buying things because right now she kind of feels like she can just take whatever the hell she wants and walk away with it.
It's a tough concept. It's a concept that personally I'm still trying to wrap my head around. So Annie's doing her best. My sister's in town right now. It's March break. George is a teacher.
Wicked.
And just before we were going to start to record, I was telling her that you were at Great Wolf Lodge and I was talking about how we went there when we were a kid. The Wisconsin one, as we noted on the podcast previously. And I was like, do you remember going to Great Wolf Lodge? Like, you were pretty young. And at first she was like, no, not really. And then she stopped. Like, she had a vision. Like, that's so Raven. She goes, no, I do have one vivid memory.
What
Apparently,
was it?
You know the memories that just stand out when you're kids, like the stupid stuff that like embarrasses you? Her memory from Great Wolf Lodge is being in the wave pool and absolutely bulldozing a family, like getting pushed by the wave and getting
so hard
to a random family, and then just being like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry." And you know how embarrassing that would be when you're a kid, like it just would be. And she was so discombobulated, she couldn't find us, and she had just mowed a family.
That's it, you know, and that those waves come. I didn't realize, like, we come
serious.
last year with the kids. They're big, like they chuck you, and they also like. I feel bad because like my nephew's getting clobbered. He's like, I don't need a life jacket. I'm like, you do, but I'll stand near you. So he's getting clobbered by a wave, and he's like, oh, he like finally clears his eyes and his face and opens up, only to have another one smack him. Then you see the panic set in, and you're like, dude, this isn't.
Oh yeah,
go more shallow. Throw a life vest on and get back out here.
I love the wave pool. I've been on the road a little bit this week too, though. I was in Ottawa for their Tuesday game. My travel, surprisingly, and I got a little wooden bench in front of me that I'll knock on that my computer's sitting on, but my travel's been real good lately. Smooth. I took your advice. I traveled the day of the game. I was with Daniela and Becky, met them at the airport. Everything went well. The game in Ottawa was amazing. We'll get into it when we do our headlines, but sounds like folks in Ottawa are getting excited for our visit on the 25th. We're pretty pumped up for that too. I have to say, guys, that I need to put this disclaimer out there. When I am like, people are always like thinking that Tessa's with me when I'm at a game, when I'm doing like the ringside reporter job. And when I'm doing the ringside reporter job at a game, I'm so spacey because I have an IFB in, similar to what I do right now. Right now I have an AirPod in my right ear. But when you're doing a broadcast and you're at ice level, like you've been there a million times, Tessa, when you're hosting like and you have an IFB in, I don't know, when you're on the concourse, I don't find it as crazy. But when you're at ice level and you have an IFB in and a whole bunch of people are talking to you like while the broadcast is going on and stuff like that, sometimes I find that my conversations are probably so painful for other people to be a part of because I'll be talking to them and then our producer, Megan Redwood, will say something to me, or I'll be listening to Daniela and Becky who are calling the game upstairs, or I'll hear something that kind of interests me and then I'll be like out of the conversation immediately while all these really nice Ottawa Charge fans are trying to talk to me. And like even another example is right before I was going to do an interview with Ken Klee, like those ones you do on the bench right before a period starts.
Yeah.
Ken, like such a nice man. He's like, so how's the podcast going? I like listening to you and Tessa. Like you guys doing a good job. How have things been? And then Megan starts saying something to me. And like, I just probably seem like the most spaced out person ever. So I just want to put that disclaimer on me as a person for anyone who's trying to talk to me.
And just to like give you a little grace here for everyone wondering. It's like, imagine someone constantly talking in your ear and you're trying to have a conversation with someone else. That's what working in TV is
you
like.
already have a bit of ADHD, like as it stands. So it's a little wild what happens to me on a game day. So thank you everyone for bearing with me and still talking to me on those days. We dropped a Renata Fast episode on Tuesday. Her brother did follow me back on Instagram. Love you, Greg.
Hey,
love you, Sean.
Go.
Like, I love the whole Fast family. I want to be like their brunette adopted Italian short sister. Like, I want to be part of the Fast family. And I feel like I'm edging closer to that. So I'm pumped about that. I'm headed to the cottage this weekend. Also excited about that. George is in town. Hopefully there's still snow in Muskoka. There's no snow anymore in downtown Toronto. There was like 10 feet of snow when I was there 2 weeks ago. There still has to be snow.
That's okay.
I want to go cross-country skiing, though.
Do you?
And since we'll be at the cottage, I love cross-country skiing. I know it's a bagger, but it's fun.
Okay.
You're not a fan?
Yeah, no. I'd rather go like snowshoeing or something.
That's an option, too. I could snowshoe as well. But sometimes snowshoe, like, God, it's like doing high knees for 2 hours. It's almost harder.
Yeah, that's the best. It's a good workout.
Activate the core.
Yeah.
I like it. But I will be in Muskoka this weekend and only one PWHL game this weekend. Boston plays Ottawa Saturday at 2 p.m. Yeah, I'm going to be at the cottage and I'm most definitely ordering pizza. The Gravenhurst Pizza is awesome. They deliver it right to the cottage. And because Ottawa's playing, I'm going to use code PWHLDEL for free delivery. Remember, anytime a Canadian PWHL team plays, you could score free delivery with code PWHL at checkout on the app or on the website from Pizza. All right, Tessa, let's get into our headlines. Lots to talk about this week in the PWHL. Okay, so we are recording this Thursday morning, Tessa. The deadline is upon us, and we'll put a little asterisk on this because if anything crazy happens right at the deadline, Tessa will get back in the wolf den and record another couple minutes, and we'll talk about whatever trades go down here. Hello, Tessa and Julia from this morning. It's Tessa and Julia from after the trade deadline. There was one trade that happened. The Montreal Victoire and the Toronto Scepters made a 1-for-1 trade. Montreal acquires forward Caitlin Willoughby from Toronto in exchange for defender Anna Shelbin. We said that if there was going to be a trade, Tessa, it was going to have to be 1-for-1. Tough to make a trade right now in the PWHL with no knowledge of draft picks or how long the draft is even going to be this year with expansion up in the air. So good move for both of these teams, adding a piece that they both needed.
Yeah, and I think that's just it in a nutshell, is that you knew Montreal was, looking for a forward, and you knew that they were shopping a defender, and you knew that, for Toronto, they wanted a defender and they got one. The good news for Willoughby is she's going to a top-notch team, which Toronto is, but she will, when Sarah Nurse was going to return from LTIR, she was inevitably going to be put back on reserve. Now with Montreal, I feel like this is a different story for her. So it's more of an opportunity. They're obviously my pick for the favorites in terms of the Walter Cup champions, if they can figure themselves out. And as far as Shelbin, I feel like good for her. This is an opportunity to really take the ball and run with it. There's a team that wanted you here for this specific reason. So make sure you make the most of this opportunity. So for both kids, I feel like, it's a shock. It's tough at first to be traded. But if you kind of look at all the other trades that have happened throughout PWHL history, and it's very short history, might I add, we're not even done year 2 yet.
Yeah.
It seems as though every single player that has been traded is exceptionally happy where they landed. So
yeah.
Just
and
goes
that's
to
because
show.
To complete a trade in the PWHL right now, both teams need to be benefiting and both teams need to have a little bit of excess.
You're wanted
at a certain position. You're wanted.
That's
both
how you
of these
look
players
at it. You are wanted.
totally wanted where they're going. Both teams get a player in a position that they needed. And hey, that's a tidy bit of business on the trade deadline, Tessa, between these two teams.
Yes.
Bitterness. It's late night. We tacked it on. Whatever. Anyways, back to us from this morning. A couple moves. New York has been the only team that has signed a couple players ahead of the deadline. They added Alexi Gay following her SDHL season with Modo to their reserve list, and Lauren Bernard from Toronto's reserve list.
Buckeye.
Yeah. OH. Lots of people. Actually, we'll get into that story in a second when we talk about NCAA hockey. But those are the couple kind of fringe roster moves that have happened for New York. We'll keep you updated, and we'll talk a little bit more about if anything else happens at the trade deadline. But I wanted to kind of talk about the trade deadline in general, Tessa, because it is I'd argue that it's even harder for last year for GMs to make trades. You can't trade picks and prospects in this league, obviously, yet. And if you're a fan of the NHL, like that's mostly what you see move on trade deadline day. Add into that the fact that there's potential expansion hanging over the heads of GMs. Like I don't envy teams having to make calls right now.
So there's a way to go about it though. Like you're planning for expansion and all of that, sure, but then you're not planning to win. And I think right now you just outright go to win since you don't know if expansion is like guaranteed for next year, right? So what's your job? Your job is to win the Walter Cup. So put yourself in the best position to win the Walter Cup. That's it, period. That's your job right now until you know otherwise.
Yeah. To make a trade, both teams like really have to have a need. Both teams kind of have to have an excess in something. So I'm interested to see if anything happens at the deadline. So as of right now, though, you're all listening to this on Friday morning, and the roster freeze is in effect. So hope you like your team, y'all, because this is your team. And only 8 games remaining for each team to play in the PWHL. So coming in
At
hot
least.
is the postseason.
Yeah. Oh no, max 8 games. Who has 6? Minnesota. Minnesota's got 6.
Everybody's in the single digits, and we're coming in hot to the next international break and Women's World Championships, and then playoffs are going to be here before you know it. So exciting times. College hockey postseason is in effect. It's well underway though, and the 3 finalists for the Patty Kazmaier were announced on Tuesday, and for the second time in history, all 3 Patty Kazmaier finalists are from the same school. So congratulations to the Wisconsin Badgers and Layla Edwards and Casey O'Brien and KK Caroline Harvey. Really incredible. 3 really incredible players. 3 players I cannot wait to watch in the PWHL. Like
not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Wisconsin's been a force to be reckoned with the entire season. Mark Johnson won Coach of the Year, I believe, in the WCHA. So well-deserved. Respect that man more than anything. And obviously these ladies are all just bosses. So yeah, just makes sense. Yeah.
Can't wait to see them lace them up in the pros one day. And we still got to wait a little bit to watch all these players, which is crazy. But very excited to see them. It's only the second time in history that all 3 Patty Kazmaier finalists come from the same school. In 2013, Megan Bozak, Amanda Kessel, Nora Ratty were all finalists from the University of Minnesota. So pretty historic sweep of the Patty Kaz. And if you're a new women's hockey fan, the Patty Kazmaier is the highest individual award in college hockey. Gosh, I think I saw a stat on the broadcast last night. The last 16 Patty Kazmaier winners all playing in the PWHL right now. So
that's wild.
Pretty cool, and it's a pretty incredible accolade to be a part of. Just winning that award is incredible. So congratulations to those 3 for being the final 3. Let's get into the PWHL action. Couple things handed out. What's the word I'm looking for? Couple disciplinary actions. There's what I was looking for. Britta Curl suspended 1 game for her chicken wing in Sunday's game versus Toronto. Yeah. Renata Fast was also fined $250 for her cross-check to the head. To both of those calls.
Yeah. Very blatant and obvious. So I would have to agree. No comments there. You nailed it.
Yeah, they made the committee's job pretty easy on that one. Easy on that one.
Yeah, the old pretty job easy.
Pretty job easy, Julia. Happy freaking Friday. Okay, first game of the week this week was Minnesota and Ottawa. We talked about it. I was on this one.
Go, Julia, go. I love when you break down a game.
I'm scared of it a bit. I like the way Ottawa came out for this one, though. Minnesota's really grueling road trip continued. Like they were in Raleigh. They went to Toronto. Right after Kendall Coyne won that game for them in Toronto, they hopped on the bus, headed to Ottawa, and they weren't complaining about the road trip. Like they weren't using it as an excuse by any means, but you could definitely tell that the road trip is starting to wear on that team. And
100%.
I think they get a 1-day turnaround before they head out on the road again. Like they were saying, we're going home to do laundry, and then we're headed out on the road again. So Minnesota's in one in terms of the travel right now, but I thought both Ottawa and New York, like 2 teams who really needed to win this week, both played similarly. They both had desperation in their game. I like the
That's
way
the
Ottawa
word.
was pregame though. Like they were loose. Carla was really loose. Like Carla is basically skipping into the rink. I was like, oh, it's such a big game day for Carla because she's so loose. I love
Right.
talking to her on days like that. She just approaches them so well. I'm the kind of person that kind of jams up on big days, so I really like to be around people who could be loose like that. And Ottawa really needed a regulation win here. Really great to see Alexa Vasco score. Like you could see the emotion in her face when she got that one. I was really happy for her. Her first goal with PWHL Ottawa. She was able to get a couple with Toronto last season, but I was pumped for her. My heart broke into like a million pieces for Aerin Smashmeyer. Congratulations to her, first of all, 1,000 saves, first going to 1,000 regular season saves in the PWHL. The whole Ottawa crowd is going crazy for her. My favorite girl next to me with her kazoo, like she has a kazoo and she goes, da-da-da, da-da, and then the whole crowd goes, charge. It's amazing.
That's wicked.
Like the crowd is hype for Mash. And then just a couple seconds later, she makes a save. She goes down on her leg, weird, and she is escorted out of the game in a whole bunch of pain. It was right in front of where I was standing, so I had a pretty good vantage point of her coming off the ice. They actually stuck her in an office chair first and wheeled her to the back room. I haven't heard anything about Mash since that game on Tuesday, but she was still in the building after the game, which I thought was good. Like she didn't go to the hospital from what I understand, and I was at the rink till just after 10 and she was still in the building. So we're thinking of her. And shout out to Gwyneth Phillips for going in there in like a terrible moment. 7 minutes left to go in a game. You know you need a regulation win in. Becky Keller and I were talking about this after the game. Like when you get a jailbreak goal to win it, the way Alexa Vasco did, win it in regulation for your team. Like what is that? A prison break? A prison riot? Like it needs a bigger name. We got to call it something else. It needs more. It needs more pizzazz.
Prison riot.
I don't know, but God, I was so happy for Alexa Vasco. I was so happy for the Ottawa Charge. It was a cool night too. It was Indigenous Heritage Night, and Ottawa obviously has two of the most prominent Indigenous players in Jocelyn Larocque and Victoria Bach. So I thought both of them had good games too that night. Lots of cool activations around the rink for that night. So great night in Ottawa, and it looks like Ottawa's going to be kind of in the same position they were last year, Tess, with a race right down to the very end for the postseason.
And that's just it. And like you talk about Gwyneth Phillips jumping in the net with just over 7 minutes left. It's like, this is a team that does not want you even getting a sniff near them. And they're the defending Walter Cup champs who have been in this position before last season, who have seasoned vets on their team, who have won them games prior, Kendall Coyne-Schofield. And it's like, she just was so cool as a cucumber, and I dig it, and I love it. Like, if you think about it, Boston and Minnesota. Yeah, Boston and Minnesota, they're tied with 35.
Yep.
Toronto is in second with 36. Ottawa's nipping at the heels of Minnesota with 30.
Yeah, and a couple games in hand on Minnesota too. Is the
Minnesota, it looking tough for Minnesota. They've got 6 games left. Ottawa's got 8. So there's 6 extra points right there. If Minnesota doesn't take care of business down the stretch here and Ottawa does, those extra 2 games might be the difference.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I didn't even mention, actually, no, that's the next game, but we'll get into that in a second. Sorry, I'm rambling here. So that's great game. The playoff race is going to be crazy. Very happy for Ottawa to get that win and very happy for their fans too. Minnesota was good in this game too, though. And I mentioned this very long road trip. I've talked about Taylor Heise kind of being the engine for that team. Like she's one person that really doesn't seem affected by the grueling road trip. She walks into games with her hair still perfectly done, her outfit still looking good, and like she has a ton of energy.
Sunglasses on her head.
I'm very impressed by her all around. And you know what? She is the player this week, Tessa, that got the nod for Break It Down with Buckles.
Oh.
Seeing some great looks here in this overtime frame.
Heise. Slot. Shot. She scores! Taylor Heise. Game winner in overtime.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Emma Buckles, and this is Break It Down with Buckles, where I discuss and showcase why these are the greatest players in the world. Today, we're talking about Taylor Heise, one of the most electric players to watch in the PWHL. Heise is dynamic and so creative out there. It is so fun to watch. Heise has some of the slickest hands in the game, and you see this on full display when she gets in tight in the slot, or if she ever gets the goalie alone on a shootout or breakaway. What I love most about Heise's game is you never know what you're going to get. She has really mastered the skill of being deceptive. She's a young player that likes to try out new things, whether it's a spinorama pass, a no-look feed, or even just a sharp angle shot. You always have to be on your toes when Taylor Heise is on the ice. For opposing teams, you really have to expect the unexpected when she's out there. And for fans, this is so fun to watch. On top of all this, Heise's super confident and patient with the puck. She's very calculated with the puck. She's not going to just brush a play. She's very patient, and she'll wait for the right lane to open up. She creates time and space for herself, whether it's cutting back during zone entry or going lateral on defensemen to create extra space to make these plays. Oh yeah, and did I mention she has an unbelievable shot? From her release to her accuracy to her shooter's mentality and shooting from all different angles, Heise's shot is lethal. She also has quite the slap shot, which isn't common amongst forwards, and you'll see her wire it up high by the blue. Catch the Frost this Sunday against the Sirens in the Motor City. It's going to be the Detroit Takeover Tour game. Not going to want to miss it. I'm going to be there. Hopefully I'll see you guys there as well. Thank you guys again for listening. I'll see you next time. Passing it back to Tessa and Julia.
Thanks, Buckles. Love to hear from our favorite Emma Buckles every Friday, breaking down the best players in the PWHL and highlighting why they are the best. Let's move on to Wednesday night's game. Montreal in New York. Again, New York came out with desperation in this one.
100%. And you know, it's almost like they have nothing to lose, quite literally. And that's the way they're going to go out there and play. And Montreal feels like they don't really have much to lose either because they have such a lead on the league right now. And it almost feels like they're kind of playing that way. I don't know. I don't like Montreal's game on the road right now. It doesn't sit well with me. But for New York, they're definitely playing desperate and a little bit ticked off. Why? Well, the past few games, I feel like they've outshot their opponents. They've played well enough to win, and just for whatever reason, the cookies never crumbled in their favor.
Yeah.
So this
and
game,
even when Abby Rock was talking in between periods to Abby Labar, I think was on the broadcast last night, she said, like, listen, we've had a couple we've lost a lot of games in this 9-game losing streak that we feel like we should have won. Like, we've been playing the right way lately.
And look at Toronto, prime example. Yeah. They're looking at you like, we know what it's like. Stick with the progress, stick with the process, you know, like you just have to keep chipping away at the bit. It's going to finally go your way. And then when it does, you just got to run with it and like run away with it, because there's no better time than the present right now, especially with the amount of games that are left, with the break that's going to be coming up. There's a couple games for each team after Women's Worlds. And then we're hightailing it in the 6th gear right into the playoffs. So I feel like for New York, if they actually want to make a run at this, by all means, go ahead. And look, here's what I'm going to say. If you don't want to make a run at this and you feel like your job is safe, Greg Fargo and Dao, the GM, be sellers right now. Sell your players, be first in the draft, or start earning your, gold medal points?
Yeah. Gold plan points.
Gold plan points. And then just draft exactly how you need to draft, you know, barring no expansion. However,
that's what makes it complicated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't envy GMs right now. Like I said before, it's hard to know what to do. I agree though. In my mind, for New York, you just want to guarantee that you get that number 1 pick. But then they look so desperate last night and they win, and you don't know what's going to happen with expansion. I don't know. Couple things on Montreal though, before we keep talking about New York. Really happy to see some secondary scoring for Montreal.
Huge.
Nice to see Tabin score. Shout out Maureen Murphy, who is like a really great person, does like a bajillion volunteer hours off the ice. And also a fellow wiener dog mom. She has 2 wiener dogs, long hair wiener dogs too.
I love that. Katie Tabin proven to be a little bit of a problem, hey? I like this. It's all of a sudden she's just like, fine, I'll become a goal scorer. And it's like, I love that. A defender that scores. Hit me with it. But it's just confidence, I think, and comfortability. And maybe she feels like, Frank, if no one else is going to do this, I'll do this. I also have to say, I love the way Kayla Barnes is playing lately. I always love the way she plays, but lately she's like tossing the bot around. Like, yeah. And she's on the forecheck sometimes. I'm like, whoa, who just did that? And I'm like, Kayla Barnes? Like, what are you doing there? And I was like, I don't mind it. I love when a defender is either F1 or F2, and she has been lately. I dig.
Yeah.
I don't know if Corey's happy with it. I'm sure she is because they can use some help on the offensive side of things. But Kayla Barnes, big fan. Katie Tabin, huge fan of the way they've been playing for the Victoire lately.
Yeah, I have one thumbs down for Montreal, though. Like, when are they going to fix their power play? Like, when is that going to happen? How could they be such a good team and have the worst power play in the PWHL? Like, that's got to be something. They've got such ground on everyone right now, but that's got to be something you're thinking about going into the postseason. You need special teams in the postseason.
Well, you better be peaking right in the postseason or leading up to it, because look at the distance between yourself and second place, maybe 8 points, but that goes away real quick.
Yeah.
Two regulation wins by the Scepters, and they're 2 points behind you, nipping at their heels.
Yeah, so that PP has got to be something that Montreal gets in order soon. And you have to think, like, it looked pretty good last night. Like, the puck was moving pretty well, I thought. But it's almost like they just need to get one on the power play in order for it to start.
Well, it's not just I feel like sometimes when you're on the PP and you have a specific unit, you're always trying to look for the same things. And if that makes sense, you're kind of looking for the same plays or the same type of looks. Whereas if you just go out there as a unit and just play hockey, then a lot of movement starts happening. And then the penalty kill kind of gets a little bit confused because you're just playing regular, pretend like it's 5-on-5 hockey. Just go and play.
Oh my God, that's so funny that you said that, dude. Because we were talking to Carla about the power play before the Ottawa game.
Carla and I love this. We love this.
That's exactly what she said. She said play like, because Ottawa got a power play goal, which was great to start that game, but the power play was a concern heading into it, getting movement on the power play. And she said the exact same thing. Just play like there's 5 players. You got one more player than them. Just do it.
Just do it.
Oh my gosh.
Just don't set up. It's too easy. They know how to defend that. You confuse them. Anyways, Carla and I always said that. Maybe that's why we were on the 6th power play on Team Canada. Albeit we were highly successful. Myself, Carla, Jillian Apps, Gina Kingsbury, and Sherry Piper. What a unit. We scored very often. I'm pretty sure we were functioning at like 80%. And like we were only thrown out there when Mel was mad at the top 2 power play units. It was like, fine, you guys don't want to be good? We're going to throw these kids out. It was like, look what you're doing to the team. You're making them be out there. Anyways, we were good.
Oh, that's freaking hilarious.
But that's what it was like. We had our thing, but every time Carl and I were like, we should just play like it's regular power play, a regular 5-on-5. Yeah, because it works.
Oh man, that's so funny. I just heard her say that, and then you said it. Yeah. This was a chippy game too, though, between Montreal and New York. Fillier gets 5 in a game for that cross check to the head.
It was a strange moment too. I had no idea. It took forever. I was like, can I fast forward through this? I'm watching it live. I don't know what to do. Took forever. Even Pooh was like
2
standing
huge
there.
reviews. Like even that Ottawa game, the review on the one goal that ended up counting for Ottawa, like that was like a 10-minute long review too.
It's crazy. Pooh was standing there talking to Zandy Hart, like tapping her leg, like, can we just go play now? Decide on this later. Like, we don't care. We got to get going. I said that
the opposite. It was a goal for Minnesota. But anyways, you guys knew what I meant.
Yeah. We always do, Julia. It's okay.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah. It was a straight cross check to the head, though, on Ambrose, who is a very important player on Montreal. Not that any player is not important, but when it comes to key players, I find refereeing's usually a little bit more strict and tight, but you can't have that. You can't have a cross check to head like that. Ambrose was clearly stepping up on her. You didn't need to bring your hands up. So yeah, I understand that it was a 5-minute major.
Yeah. I think it speaks to like how do I say this? I think in the first year that there was very clear, the first year of the PWHL, there was a little bit of like lack of USA on USA violence and Canada on Canada violence. I think it speaks to how people are starting to bleed their team colors, that PWHL teams are more at the forefront than national teams right now.
Huge.
That makes sense. As it should be in season, obviously. But you know what 100%. I mean? It almost like took a little bit of adjustment for that to become a thing.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know. Philly is just the type of player that's just going to play like that no matter what, right? Like,
yeah, and we love that
like
about
losing.
her. That's why she's one of the best in the world.
Exactly.
I love the moment between Eldridge and Mariah Keppel too. And it was like so easy to lip read, which I love about those moments. They were still yerping at one another in the box too. Keppel's yelling at her, try it again, try it again, try it again. And I was kind of hoping for Jessie to try it again because I like the chaos of it all. But yeah, it was good. It was a chippy game. I was happy to see New York get the win. My Nyland person gets the OT winner. And New York gets their first win since January 27th. Like,
that's crazy.
That's got to feel good. It's insane.
So good.
And at that point, think about when they started losing. Like, they were in first place. They were sitting at the top of the league. They came out of the gate so hot this season. We just thought there was no way they would miss the playoffs. I remember having a conversation with somebody about like who's going to be in the postseason this year. And New York and Minnesota and Montreal were the three teams. I forget who I was talking to. But it might have been Cheryl or something like that. But we said like those three teams are too good to miss this year. And I'm happy to see New York looking up again. Like Abby Rock said, they deserved a lot better than they got in that 9-game losing streak. I'm really happy to see it not hit double digits. I was peeking at the Adam Gold plan this morning, which updates every day based on the games that happen, and it simulates different situations. And I was looking at the possibility of New York making the playoffs. There is less than a 3% chance right now, but
there's still a chance.
There's a chance. It ain't zero, Tessa. It ain't zero. And it would take a lot of winning from them and obviously some losing from other teams. But I don't know. You and I just pass the puck back and forth on the thought of like, is it worth it to be a seller in this league right now when you don't know exactly what's happening with expansion? Like,
that's just it.
I don't know. So I'm
hold on. How long of a contract did Philly sign at the beginning of the year again?
Yep, that's a major factor,
right?
As well. That like I feel like hasn't been talked about too much this year. But yeah, they don't have Philly locked up long term the way a lot of teams have their major stars locked up for 3 seasons. So
yeah,
different scenario in New York. And we're gonna have our eyes on it. Well, we'll keep you guys updated if we hear anything there. Our interview this week is someone that we talk about so glowingly on this podcast all the time. Aerin Frankel is a stud, and goalies love her. I was watching a video that one of the University of Wisconsin girls posted, and it was something to the effect of like, if I could do a jersey swap with anyone in the world, who would it be? And they were all picking like lots of NHL players, lots of Marie Philippe plans, and both goalies, I believe, said Aerin Frankel. Like, she's
huge.
Such a role model for goalies in the way that she carries herself, and obviously the way that she plays between the pipes. She's the green monster, Tessa.
I know.
She's awesome.
Larger than life.
Larger than life. We were so happy to have her on the Jocks and Jills podcast. Here she is. Well, guys, she's been the talk of the town in the PWHL for the last 2 seasons. Just an absolute brick wall between the pipes for the Boston Fleet, except saying brick wall doesn't feel right. She is Boston's goalie, and as such, she is the green monster. Welcome to Jocks and Jills, Aerin Frankel. Thanks for hopping on with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Also, Julia, you forgot to mention she's a 2-time Spicy Tendy Award winner.
You have been getting a lot of Spicy Tendy love. And I know that like you have a lot of accolades, like world championships, like you've got a couple
Patty Kazmir awards, whatever.
Great notches in your belt, but Spicy Tendies I know is probably the most illustrious for you. You're excited, right?
I am. That's probably one of my most proud achievements thus far.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be sure to add it to your Wikipedia page.
Setting that precedent for us.
Which, by the way, I got a bone to pick with all of these, hockey pages, and like, every page has you from somewhere different. Like, I saw New York, one place. There's like, you're from 6 different spots. So where truly, well, I guess 1, where were you born? And 2, where's your hometown? Because we got to get this right. I'm going to go around to all of these pages and just start editing.
Yeah, so I can definitely set the record straight. I was born in New York City, but born and raised in Chappaqua, New York. It's a mouthful, Chappaqua. And I think a lot of people get confused because like my address at my home is Briarcliff Manor. I don't know if you saw that one as well.
I did. That was on Northeastern's website.
But yeah, when people ask where I'm from, I say Chappaqua.
Briarcliff Manor makes you sound like an heir to a throne.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, where's that?
Naturally.
It's fancy. It's about 20 miles north of like New York City.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So is that
So you're-
would you say you grew
You're a
up
burb.
around the city or more in the burbs?
More in the burbs for sure.
Yeah.
My dad commutes every day for work to Manhattan, so we're close enough that like it's very doable to get into Manhattan, but we're also far enough out where I wouldn't say I'm from New York City. But that's like a big thing that people from New York, they take very seriously. Like if you're even from 5 to 10 minutes outside the city, they say you're from upstate New York, but I don't say I'm from upstate New York because that just doesn't feel right to me. But I would say the burbs for sure.
I feel like
But,
it's the opposite here because anyone who lives within 2 hours of Toronto is from Toronto in the GTA.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean? Like it's the opposite.
Completely different. Yeah, people get
I've
offended.
had somebody from Barrie tell me they're from Toronto. I'm like, you're from Barrie? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? That's 2 hours north. But I guess, it depends on the neck of the woods that you're in. I like that New York is elitist about setting that parameter around the city.
Yes.
Might as well do it. But what were your hockey playing beginnings like? What's it like to, did you play with the boys at first? Were you a player at first? Like origin stories in hockey are so interesting, but even more so for goalies. Like how do you find your way between the pipes?
Yeah, I think I kind of forced my way into the net. I started off playing on a boys team in Westchester County, which is just like the area, the county my town is in. And my parents put me on skates, and I was very drawn to being a goalie, but they did not want me to play goalie. So I think they used every last effort to keep me out of the net. I even had a compromise with them that I would play forward and play goalie. And I think at some point I just won that battle. And I think the expensive equipment and everything else, they were really not too pleased with me. But I think now looking back on it, like they just wanted me to be happy and do what I wanted to do. And yeah, it was once I was full-time goalie, there was no looking back from there.
Were they like familiar with hockey? Obviously, growing up in and around New York, you got the Islanders and the Rangers. So were they like affluent in the sport? Like they knew what they were getting into with you being a goalie? And they were like, I have no interest in being a goalie parent. Because as a parent now, I get that. That just sounds all sorts of stressful. And I got enough gray hair as it is. So
yeah, like, I mean, I wouldn't want my kid to be a goalie, so I completely understand. But I think if you ask them, they would say, oh, yeah, we knew what we were getting ourselves into, and that's why we tried to avoid it. But no one in my family played hockey. Neither of my parents played hockey. So I think they probably just didn't like the idea of me being the goalie for many reasons. But I think, yeah, now they've learned how to cope with a goalie daughter and everything that entails.
Do they have like tactics? Like what are their coping mechanisms?
Yeah.
Well, my mom's been asked before actually, and she said a flask. So that's her one-liner. But I don't know, honestly. Like it would be really interesting to get their perspective on that. I think they're pretty stressed watching games.
Yeah.
She sounds like a prime prospect for our mom's pod, Julia. Let's keep that in our back pocket. Would your mother be interested in coming on the Jocks and Jill's mom pod?
She
Flask and
probably
all?
would, but I hope that you would ask for my blessing first before I approve that decision.
Of course we wouldn't.
Absolutely not. The mom podcast has to be totally rogue or else it won't have the same vibe.
Well,
like it needs to be off the
exactly.
rails.
She's a good
Yeah.
one for that then.
Yeah. But so nobody in your family played hockey. Do you have siblings or anything to that effect? Do they play?
I have one older brother, and he picked it up after I started playing in high school.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He loved it, but didn't really stick with it past high school. Just was a fun hobby.
That's kind of cool. I like the
Yeah.
idea of the reverse mini stick brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did he start playing because you were like, okay, I have to practice forward, or hey, I want to be a goalie, shoot on me, or you go in net so I can practice shooting? Like, were you using him as a prop, as a lot of brothers have done to their sisters?
It wasn't really a situation like that. It was more so he was just getting dragged along to every single hockey tournament. And I think at that point he was just like, I want to do this too. Or like, I think this would be more fun if I played hockey. And he started at the right time. Like he was on the older side, but he still got to play 4 years in high school and really enjoyed it. And think now he has like an extra appreciation for like professional sports and hockey especially. So it just makes it more fun for him now, I think, watching.
So you somehow finagled your parents or convinced them to let you be a goaltender. At what point were they like, holy smokes, you're good at this?
I think probably my freshman year of high school, when I started talking about going to Shattuck, St. Mary's in Minnesota, I think they were like, wow, is this really happening? My mom did not want me to go at all. But I think when I kind of got an offer from the school, like, this could be a really great place for Aerin to pursue her hockey career. I think they were like, wow, like Minnesota is really far. Like we barely leave like New York area. This is real and scary. But yeah, at the end of the day, they just wanted me to do whatever I could do to get to the highest level. And my dream was to play Division I hockey.
Was it scary? Like, you're so young to be leaving home. Like, were you just so dedicated to the dream that you didn't think twice about it? Or was it the kind of circumstance that you don't think about it and then you get there and you're like, holy shit, what have I done? Like, what was it like?
It was like a healthy mix of both, I would say. Like, I definitely got there and was like, wow, I have to do my own laundry. I need to clean for myself. And basically, I'm very, very independent at 13, 14 years old. But then at the same time, all the really cool stuff that I had thought would be true of the place were so true. Like all the ice time and coaches and friends, teammates there. But it definitely had a little bit of both. There was a lot of growing up that had to happen really quickly.
Yeah, I'd say. Like, did you know how to cook before you went there? Or was there strictly, like, you were just eating out of the cafeteria?
Yeah, we were strictly dining hall.
Okay,
That's
thank
good
gosh.
at least. Laundry would have been intimidating at first though, even.
100%. All of your whites are pink, let's be honest.
Yeah,
I don't believe in separating. I'm going to be 27 in a month.
Julia.
I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. And I haven't had anything fail on me yet. If I had something new and red, I wouldn't put it in with a white, but I've gotten this far in life. I don't separate. I just want to be honest about that here with our friends and listeners. This is a safe place if you don't separate your darks and your lights.
I don't separate.
You don't either?
No.
I think we're like uncovering a myth. Like we're like, no, you don't have to be doing this. It's time wasted.
Is it because you're both washing in cold? Is that why? Like with all the new like cold soap, like you can wash in cold and the soap's still good.
I don't know what the temperature of the water is.
What? You guys need to learn how to do laundry again. This is unacceptable laundry.
I know that there's like water temperature involved in laundry, but I like really don't know the implications of it.
Yeah.
I see cold water wash. I hear it's good for the environment. I just flick it on. I live in a condo. I'm a renter in a condo. You know how much I think about on a day-to-day basis? I'm like, I hope nothing breaks, but if it does, not my problem.
That's fair. You're playing with and training with actually a bunch of players, a bunch of ladies who are in the league now, which is actually really cool to me. I think so, at least, because like y'all are playing pro hockey. Like that's the coolest. And to come from, playing on a team together, like look where we are now. Like this is insane. Are there those moments for all of you that like, I guess when you meet up with each other on the road or some that you play with, just to rhyme off a few like Claire DeGeorge, Maggie Connors, Maureen Murphy, Natalie Bookbinder, Allison Simpson, like these are some big names in the league and all of you came from Shattuck. So like, how cool is it to be in the league together knowing exactly where you came from?
It's awesome. I think just over the years, those have been some of the people I've been the closest with. I love my Northeastern friends so much, but the people that saw me my early days at Shattuck, I've been through it all with them. And I think we've definitely developed a very special relationship and friendships. And they're definitely friends I'll have forever. And being able to play alongside them and also against them in this league is incredible. And I think it also says a lot about the school and the pro hockey program there.
When you were in Minnesota, you got to be close to one of my favorite places. When I got to go on hockey tournaments growing up, I'd get to go to the Mall of America. You're not much of a roller coaster person, we hear, but Maureen Murphy did convince you to hit a roller coaster one time?
Yeah, I think we were at the Mall of America during I think it might have been around Halloween time or something. I don't know. And they had these themed rides and yeah, Murph convinced me to go because everyone else was going and I really didn't want to. And better yet, they had those mid roller coaster photos. So I
got
was
it. Don't worry.
trying to keep it together, but was very, very scared. And yeah, my friends got a kick out of that one.
Did you have to go upside down?
Yes. I think every
That's
which
friend
way
abuse.
it can go, it went. And it was very scary. And I haven't been on a roller coaster since then. So traumatizing,
Come on.
to say the least.
Last time, I don't do roller coasters either. That SpongeBob ride at the Mall of America, I wake up in the night thinking about it sometimes.
Yeah, it's just not my thing.
Why does it go upside down so many times? Like, I'm just a girl and I'm meant to be right side up. I don't want to do that.
I heard him. Did SpongeBob bring you to tears, Julia? Because I hear poor Aerin was brought to tears from this ride.
Were you crying?
Yeah.
To be fair, I think part of it was just the heights and the twists and turns that got my eyes watering.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you're going
was it?
fast too, right?
Yeah.
No, there
And
were
someone
real
was cutting
tears.
onions, probably.
Yeah.
My issue with roller coasters is that, like, fine, take me on the roller coaster. And I've been through this with friends before. I remember in grade 7, like, going to the fair and some guy wanted to take me on a ride. And I'm like, all right, let's go on the ride. You guys want to see me puke? I will. 10 times out of 10. So let's go and let's prove this correct that I puke every time I go. It's
No
not even
way.
like the fear of heights. Dude, you know I have a bad stomach. I get really
I
bad
do.
motion sick. I wear like a magnet bracelet in the car when I have to sit in the back. Like, I don't do roller coasters.
Noted. Shouldn't make
Yeah.
you sit in the back seat anymore.
I got my magnet bracelet though. If I got to sit in the back, I'm prepared.
If that works, that works. My gosh.
Yeah.
But Aerin, you mentioned your buddies from Northeastern, and I think it's important to touch on that time because, like, well, first of all, you literally grew up at Shattuck's, like from, let's say, I don't even want to call you a preteen, just like a baby teenager into a semi-adult teenager, if you will. And I find in university, it's really cool because just from my experience, and I'm sure Julia for yourself too, like you really enter with a sense of who you think you are. And then as you graduate and work your way through university, you kind of discover who you actually are and you grow into that and love that. But just from a player standpoint or a goalie standpoint, I guess, to graduate there as one of the best NCAA goalies of all time. You won the Patty Kaz as the 4th ever goaltender to do so. Like, what were those years like for you, those transformative years at Northeastern? Because I feel like you and Kendall Coyne were like a big part of really turning that program around.
Yeah, I think Kendall definitely started just such a pivotal time period for Northeastern. And my freshman year, we were like 500 the whole season, and then we're able to turn it around towards playoffs and win the program's first Hockey East championship, which was probably one of my favorite memories being at Northeastern. And then from there, I think our class specifically and the ones that came after were just super motivated to stay at the top. And we always kind of had a like prove people wrong mindset. I think no one else in the league took us as seriously as I guess we took ourselves. So we had a lot of success after my freshman year. And I think just being surrounded by like such great players. I mean, Maureen Murphy ended up transferring to Northeastern. Maddie Mills, who was another one of my Shattuck teammates, also ended up transferring to Northeastern. We had such great players, Alina Mueller, Chloe Arard, and that helped me. I was challenged every day on the ice. And then I think our coaching staff at Northeastern, head coach Flint, he's just a mentor to me still, someone that I go to with all my problems and just to vent. And he was a goalie himself. So I think having a goalie be our head coach was a huge part of my development, my growth as a player and as a person as well.
So many great goalies out of there. Gwen Phillips backing up for Ottawa right now, but she's shown some great moments. Oh, you're obviously made the U.S. roster as well. What's your relationship with her like? Do you still ever touch base with her? I just think it's so cool the way Northeastern's pumping out goalies right now.
Yeah, it's awesome to see like Gwen on the other side of the ice when we're playing Ottawa.
Yeah.
We've played against her this year and just really happy for her. We were friends at Northeastern and she spent summers in Boston as well. So we've skated a lot together and always keeping in touch, checking in. And I'm excited to go to this upcoming World Championship with her. And I'm sure we'll make a lot more memories. And it's been fun being her goalie partner.
Did you ever try riding her unicycle?
No, and I don't think that's something I should do.
Okay, wait, I have another question about Northeastern. What was up with the dorm room dogs? Like, I'm kind of obsessed with the concept, but Gwen with, what's her name again? Paris?
Yeah, Paris.
Maureen had 2 dogs too. Like, what was up with the dorm room dogs at Northeastern? Or were they
Honestly,
in a
it
house?
came like all in a wave. I think it was just an era when people decided they were going to get dogs. I think like COVID, especially.
Was
like
the pandemic?
puppies.
Oh, okay.
I think that had to have
Everybody
something to
got
do with it.
COVID puppy fever
Yeah.
when they were bored in their dorms.
And then, of course, someone like myself who loves dogs but doesn't want the full responsibility, I'm all for it. Because I'm like, I'll walk it from time to time and come hang out, but I don't want
Oh, yeah.
to have my
One
own.
girl on the team fires out, like, guys, I'm thinking of getting a dog. Everyone's like, yeah, get the dog for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Nobody's discouraging that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Team mascot. Love it. You love dogs, you claim, but you also are a huge lover of Caesar salad. Apparently
I'm
you're a
dying
big
to hear the
foodie
answer to
too.
this. Like, people want to, like, there's been discourse on social media. There's an ongoing investigation into this story, Tessa. Like, people are really curious about
Go on.
this.
Go
Why
on.
do you have a Caesar salad Instagram account? Please,
I love
people
it.
need to know.
Pain for Romaine.
Pain by Romaine. That's right.
Pain by Romaine, yeah.
Honestly, I think I just have always really loved Caesar salads, and I for the longest time would always order them, always like take photos of them, like just loved them, and was kind of known for that, like in high school and college. And then my friend Haley Skarupa, who I'm sure you guys know, she inspired me with her 3-bean teeny espresso martini account.
Oh, okay.
And she's got really good content. I think the running joke of it is that I'm trying to do something similar, but my like captions, like nothing is really that similar about the two accounts. I kind of post like a mom, but I think that's kind of half the fun. And yeah, she was like, if you love Caesars that much, like you should get on this train, like just post them and like have an account and try to grow a Caesar following. And so she's helped me a little bit. She sends me good content to post, and I've been slacking a little bit, but I try every time I eat one to post, and then people will send them to me as well. And yeah, I'll post them.
Are you like the Caesar lover that is made of anchovies, or are you the other kind of Caesar dressing?
Well,
Because I feel like there are two types of Caesar lovers.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what led to my love for Caesar salads, because for the first, like, I don't know, 12, 13 years of my life, I never touched a Caesar salad because I thought that they all had anchovies, and I was like, that's disgusting. And then when I finally was like, I'm going to try one without anchovies, I'm like, this is what I've been missing. So then from there on out, I was just obsessed because I had missed out on them for so many years of my life.
You're just
I was
making
like,
up time.
Exactly.
Bacon bits, parm.
Yeah, like
So good.
describe your perfect Caesar.
Yeah. We need to know.
Very fresh romaine.
Crunchy.
crisp.
There can't be any issues with the lettuce. And then I
Put it on some ice water beforehand, crisp that up, makes it all
as
the
long
better.
as it's clean and very green. And then I like the Parmesan that's like the shaved pieces, like the big,
Yes.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I
totally.
do.
More petally.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then croutons, I'm not too picky. I find them to be the least like important component.
Ooh,
And
it's
then a
kind of
good
hot take.
dressing. Good dressing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, after the dressing, are you squirting lemon on there, or are you just as dressing? And are there bacon bits? Because bacon can be implemented.
Bacon. I've recently started to move to pancetta when I do Caesar salads. That's been a
Oh,
huge
wow.
elevation in my life.
You should send me
Recommend
one of your Caesars.
I would love to. I'm honestly proud of my Caesar recipe. We're gonna do this when next time you play in Toronto. I'm gonna show up at the rink with a Caesar
I'm excited
salad.
for that. I haven't tried
Okay, is
bacon
it-
yet on it.
No?
Like, not when I've made my own. I've
Okay.
never.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I order them out at restaurants all the time. It's a great appetizer side. So just works
It's
out.
the ultimate girl dinner, right? Some
Yes.
fries, a chicken Caesar salad, a crispy Diet Coke. Like that's the definition of, I don't know, like a girl meal to me.
Yeah, I guess. What, or is this like a pregame snack, a pregame meal? Are you burping up Caesar throughout the game? Is that the
No.
secret to Aerin Frankel? No?
It's not a pregame
Nobody's
meal.
coming near the net.
Yeah.
I mean,
Crash
it
net.
could
We don't wanna.
be. It could be, but
Right?
not usually.
Okay. So this is a post game. I played well. I deserve this kind of meal.
Yeah,
Yeah, that tracks.
that tracks.
But you're a foodie too. It's not just Caesar, right? Like you're into all types of food. What's your like number one go-to? You're going to a new city and you're like, I'm gonna try.
Well, my favorite food's probably sushi. But if I'm in a new city and I want to try something, I would try to like figure out like what's the best restaurant in town, like who, like a place someone who's local is
Yeah.
like recommending.
Like, what's the spot in Boston? I know Boston is really famous for good Italian food, right? And obviously the whole
Yes.
seafood component too. It's probably my Italian bias that I hear Boston has good Italian food.
The North End. Boston
Right,
has the
okay.
best Italian food in the North End. My favorite spot is Trattoria Il Panino. I think Jill's actually going there tonight for her birthday, if anyone wants to crash. But I
Happy birthday,
recommended
Jill
it to her.
Saunier.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jill. They have the best lobster ravioli, espresso martinis, chicken parm. It's a good spot.
Oh, that sounds serious. So
Doesn't
did
sound
that,
bad.
Yeah, you were one of the first 3 players to sign in Boston. Can I assume that the culinary prowess of the city had something to do with your decision? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You obviously had that deep connection with Boston. Like, was it kind of a given that that's where you wanted to sign? I'd imagine that New York probably looked a little bit attractive based on where you're from.
Yeah, I really wanted to play in Boston. It was my first choice by far, and I was just hoping, fingers crossed, that that first day of free agency, I would maybe hear from Boston and be able to stay here. And I was lucky enough that they did call, and that was the only team that reached out to me during free agency. And I
No
was like, this
way.
is perfect. Yeah, I think like
What?
yeah, that's it. So
That's insanity to me. There's no way anyone else took a run at you. No one was like, looking at goalies here, like they're kind of important in this league.
Yeah.
No one
No.
was like,
We were
hey,
both
Aerin
assuming,
Frankel.
yeah, we honestly
100%
both
knew-
assumed that there was like a Aerin Frankel sweepstakes and you had your kind of picking the teams.
Absolutely. I
it
thought you
was
would
the
have been
other way
like,
around.
phones are ringing off the hook.
No.
Wow.
This is insanity. Not even New York. New York didn't even give it a text, nothing.
Well, I think they didn't want to go or me for free agency, maybe in the draft or something. But like once I heard that Boston was interested during free agency, that was the only thing I could think about. And it was a very easy decision to say yes to that.
It's kind
Oh,
of
well,
crazy
that's
and cool
great.
because like just with baseball and everything, I'm assuming you're a Yankees fan or are you a Mets fan?
More so Yankees, but not super closely following baseball.
Okay. Just because like with the Yankees and the Red Sox and like the whole rivalry there, you know, like you're a New York girl that is like kind of turned Bostonite, which is, I don't know. I don't want to say like anti-New York, but like it kind of has that like, we don't do that here in New York kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know? But then here you are. And like, quite frankly, one of the most popular sporting things in Boston is the Green Monster. And now that is your nickname, which is like, I don't know. It's like you've shed all of your New Yorkness and you're just like, I am full Boston now.
I know. I hope it doesn't upset my parents too much, but they're huge Rangers fans and Yankees fans, Giants fans. But I feel like I've been here long enough that this is home, and I cheer for the Bruins. I go to Red Sox games. I feel like I've just become from Boston at this point.
Yeah. Honestly, you are a true Bostonian. One of the reasons, like only a true Boston hockey person can send Montreal hockey fans into fits the way that you did during the postseason last year. So true Boston representative. Like, what do you remember maybe about that series specifically with Montreal? Like, you were so good all postseason, but that series specifically, you've had so many stretches during your career, like your college career was insane, of great hockey. But when you think about that series versus Montreal, like, where would you rank it in terms of some of the best hockey you've played in your career?
Yeah, it was just such a fun series to be a part of. I think our team was playing with a chip on our shoulder and kind of with that prove people wrong mindset. And we had a group that would go to any length for each other, and we wanted to see our team have success, and we weren't playing exactly how we wanted to early on in the season. So I think when we found ourselves in double overtime versus Montreal, we were kind of like, why not us? Like we got here, we might as well try to win this thing. And we just had such a great group in the locker room. And I think the fun that we had at the rink and just also the competitive people that we have in our room just helped me to be myself and be successful. And I think I remember just, looking up in Laval and seeing the atmosphere and how amazing it was. And although the 12,000 fans, however many fans, they weren't rooting for us, it was still a really cool environment to be a part of. And I definitely won't ever forget that series.
Always fun hushing the crowd. But like, okay, so every single game went to overtime in that series. So, but let's say, okay, so you just finished the first game. You guys went to, was it double overtime the first game?
I think so.
I forget which one
Anyways.
was the really long one.
The triple one. Regardless, every game Was it like, were you guys not laughing in the locker room? Like, are we serious here? Like, we're doing this again?
Yeah, we definitely hit multiple points of just like delirium in the locker room. You could look around and there were many different scenes. You'd have like people lying down on the ground with their legs up, people like scarfing down Skittles, other people pacing around, trying not to get cramps, chugging waters, Gatorades. Some people like myself just not having the energy to even move. I just sat there, I think, didn't say a peep in between periods. But it was just
That's
so
so
much fun.
goalie.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny to just like see you ripping it up, like lights out between the pipes, and then just go sit in silence between
Just having
periods
a
and not talk to
hot
anyone.
nap.
Yeah.
Hot nap between periods. But did it feel like the longer you would drag the games on with Montreal that year, the more they kind of weighed in your favor?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think one thing that helped us was just our belief in our team. Like we never wavered. We always knew that we could get the job done. And I think that came from our coaching staff down, just the belief in the players that we had in the room. And I remember there were people cracking jokes in between periods, like about being tired. And everyone was like, we're not freaking tired. Like everyone just had great vibes, great energy. And I think it would have been easy to be kind of miserable like in the third overtime, but everyone had smiles on their face. And I think that's what helped like propel us forward.
Pizza will do that to people. I've never met anybody that looks at a piece of pizza and frowns. I mean, unless it's pineapple pizza, obviously there are some. However, pizza just kind of does that, makes people happy. But like to know that you are frustrating some of the best hockey players in the world, especially in Marie-Philippe Poulin. Like, are you laughing back there the whole time? Or are you kind of like, this is so fun right now that I get to do this to you guys?
I wouldn't say laughing. I think just, yeah, try not to get so far ahead of myself, just thinking at like one shot at a time. And obviously with someone like Poulin on the other side, like you can't take a second off. Otherwise, she's going to put the puck past you. So I think it's a very fun environment to play in because it brings the best out of you and out of them. But it's one where you can't take a second off.
World Championships last year in Utica, like it was such and in your home state too, like such a great tournament. Your team was so good throughout the whole thing. It comes down to what it always comes down to between Canada and the United States and just the smallest of margins. Did you feel that loss maybe propelled you through the playoffs and like left that bad taste in your mouth and almost made you want to hold it down all the much harder against, that team in Montreal is pretty Canadian?
Yeah, I think I left Worlds definitely disappointed with the outcome and wanting more out of myself for my team. And I think it was a great opportunity to refocus on what we had ahead of us in Boston, which was an opportunity for a different championship. So I think that kind of, like you said, motivated me to just focus on what I could, which was the task at hand in Boston and trying to take us as far as we could go. And it was kind of nice having something else to look forward to with the World Championships being done. It wasn't just like the off season and hockey was over.
Yeah. And does that leave you just all the more fired up for the opportunity? The roster I mentioned earlier, just recently named for the 2025 Worlds in Czechia. Like, how excited are you for another kick at that can?
I'm super excited. I've never been to Czech Republic before, and I have some teammates from there now, so I'm excited to see that part of the world and obviously play Canada again. It's the most fun hockey and super competitive, and I'm excited. I think our roster looks amazing.
I feel like it's going to be a raucous time out there because was it Venisheva that told us, Julia, that's like 10 minutes outside of where she grew up. And I feel like, that Czechia team is really starting to pour it on, especially these past few years. So and there's going to be a large contingent of Czechia fans out there, I guess making noise for them. But also they're all going to want to see the hockey that everybody wants to see, which is Canada, USA as well, the pinnacle of the sport. So it should be exciting for all of you. For yourself, you've yet to make an Olympic roster. 2026 is coming in hot. And I feel like you're playing hockey that like is out of this world good. Is that kind of like you're hitting peak form? Is there a whole other level to Aerin Frankel that we haven't witnessed yet that is about to come for 2026?
I hope so. I obviously have had the Olympics in the back of my mind for some time now, and not making the roster in 2022 obviously motivated me to keep working towards something that has been a dream of mine since I was really little. So I think just keeps you moving in the right direction, and that's what I'm trying to continue to do. And as it gets closer, I can't believe it's already coming up, less than a
It's
year
crazy.
away, but it's a very exciting time, and I'm looking forward to hopefully the opportunity to be on that roster.
Yeah, should be a really exciting year of hockey to watch until those rosters are named. But until then, we get to enjoy the PWHL and watching you with the Boston Fleet, who have been excellent lately. Like, tell us what the vibes are like in Boston this year. It seems like a little bit of a slow start to the season. And now you guys have put it together again. It really does feel like Boston will always grind. Like, you guys can beat anyone on any night. And I know that's the case in this league that has a lot of parity, but your team especially, it does feel like you guys are always kind of the dark horse that even if you're not expecting Boston to do something, they're always competitive.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we've just proven that we're never down and out in a game, and it doesn't matter who the opponent is. Like, we're gonna do everything we can. We play physical, we play fast, and I think we have just such a great group of humans in our locker room that makes it even more special. And I think we show that on the ice. We stand up for each other and support each other. And I think, yeah, we've been playing some of our better hockey the last few weeks. So hopefully we just keep trending in the right direction. And like you said, the league is so strong. So every night is just a really fun battle.
I've played with Courtney Kessel for some time, so I know that she's got that kind of FU mentality, that swagger. Does she instill that in the locker room too? Like, does she encourage that for all of you and kind of like have you all lean into it a bit?
Yeah, I think she definitely has talked about the importance of standing up for each other and representing Boston with pride. And I think everyone, even if they're not from Boston, now playing in the city can feel just how it is a tremendous sports city and all the history that has come before us. And we're just trying to like keep building that legacy. And part of that is playing tough and standing up for each other, supporting each other.
Yeah. You mentioned, and I just want to ask you about this quickly. It just came to my head. You mentioned it's her birthday as we record this, actually. But Jill Sonia recently traded to your team. Like, what's she injected into that lineup other than being an enforcer, obviously?
Jill has been awesome.
Yeah.
She has only one speed, and I don't know how she can always operate at 100 miles per hour, but she definitely brings such good vibes into the locker room, and you've seen it on the ice this year. She'll grind and she'll fight people. She's always in front of the net, causing chaos. And I think that's something that has been really good for our team. And she fits our team identity really well. And she's also a hilarious person. And it's just been really fun having her around.
Have you met her mom yet?
Not yet.
Let us know when you do. She's a grand old time. She's a hoot. East Coasters, they're the best.
That's awesome.
I just wanted to ask one last thing before we let you go, because we had her on our podcast as well, and that's Coach Kennedy, Coach Courtney Kennedy. How has she injected just like some of the most fun, lightheartedness, energy into your locker room, and how great is it having her around? Like, we're looking for any type of Coach Courtney story because we love her to pieces on this podcast.
Yeah, she's hysterical. I think most people are really caught off guard by her accent, first and foremost. It's just so Boston through and through, but she really brings such a fun touch to our coaching staff, and she'll tell you how it is. She speaks her mind, and I think that is just a quality that I love about her. And you can go to her about literally anything, vent to her, get advice from her, and she's just crazy good person and awesome coach, and I love having her around.
Oh yeah. Like, anytime we get to spend 3 seconds with her, it's the best thing
It's
ever.
a treat.
So
It's a
you
treat.
guys are so
It
lucky to have her in that room in Boston, man. Like, so many good vibes around the Fleet. So good watching you. So great talking to you. Like, appreciate you doing this, and can't wait to cheer you on for the rest of the year. Hopefully for a deep playoff run.
Yeah,
Seriously, keep
you.
kicking ass. You're doing awesome. It's fun to watch. And I've liked that you've got like this very calm, chill, I'm not a goalie persona, but I feel like deep down inside, there is that inside of you, but we won't out you about it this time. We're going to have you on a little later.
Okay.
potentially after a Walter Cup victory, we'll break those things down with you. But thank you for taking the time. Like Julia said, we know you're busy and you got a lot going on. So we appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of the podcast, so I'm happy I was able to make it on.
Hey,
thank you.
Thank you.
Roller coasters are terrifying. I don't do roller coasters.
I do. Some are scary. I don't think I've ever cried on one, but hey, everyone has their own set of fears. Like put me in a pit with snakes and I will beg for my life, you know? Like we're
you
all
don't do
scared
snakes?
of different
That's
stuff.
surprising to me about you.
No, snakes, spiders, hell no. That's a hard no any time of day.
See,
I don't care what it
menace.
is.
I'm a menace with snakes. If I see one on the golf course, it's
Ugh.
ending up in somebody's bag or like on the seat of their
I would
golf
murder
cart.
you. You heard it
I'm
here.
a menace to society with stuff like that. Yeah, okay. You shouldn't have told me that information, but now I have it in my back pocket. Our FanDuel Friday 5, guys. 2 great games in the P-Dub this weekend. Boston at Ottawa, Saturday at 2 p.m. Minnesota at New York, Sunday, 7:30. It's a night game on a Sunday. I'll probably be asleep at some point in the third period, just being so real with you guys. But 2 p.m., Boston, Ottawa. Boston minus 120 on the money line. What are you feeling there? Ottawa just looks so hot on Tuesday.
I have a really hard time betting Ottawa just because of the inconsistency in what game they're going to play. However, if they can...
And Mashmeyer, right? Like, we don't know what's going on with Mashmeyer right now.
That's it. But if they can play great, I was going to say they're going to need a big game out of Gwyneth Phillips. I don't know. I like the way this Boston team's rolling right now. And I feel like their juju is flowing, and they lost the Walter Cup last year. They've got a lot of players in their room that know what it takes. They know what it's like to come down the stretch this time of year. I don't know. I got a hard time betting against Boston. And that's not to say I don't think Ottawa is going to bring it. I do. I think they're definitely going to throw down, but I'm going to throw money on Boston on this one.
All right. Minnesota, New York, Sunday, 7:30. Minnesota minus 146 on the money line. The favorites in that one.
Yeah, I know. This one's tough.
That's how I know. This segment, by the way, guys, was like, I'm like honestly learning about betting with you guys. So when it's minus, they're the favorites. When I'm like minus 120 on the money line, that means Boston's the favorites. Minnesota's minus 146 on the money line. Minnesota's the favorites over New York, obviously, on Sunday.
So minus 146 means what? Do you remember this?
You have to bet $146
to win
100.
Yes, you nailed it.
Nice. Okay, good.
Look at us.
We're learning. I hope Jess from FanDuel is proud of us right now.
I know.
Jess,
I'm
do you
really
hear
proud
us?
of you.
We're good bettors.
I felt like a tutor there.
You were. This is like when you taught me to shoot craps at the bar that time. At the casino, I mean. Not at the bar. We weren't playing craps at the bar.
No. I only play craps on the bus or at the casino. And this one, I don't know.
And only with you and Sherry Piper will I ever shoot craps. Like I wouldn't do it with anyone else.
Pipes is the best. I'll throw money on New York just because I like the way things are going for them. I hope they didn't celebrate too hard. I feel like you said, Minnesota's just a little beat up mentally and emotionally right now. I don't doubt Minnesota's going to come out. Did I say Montreal? I meant Minnesota. I don't doubt Minnesota's going to come out swinging because they're going to be a little bit upset about how that last game went. But I think that New York, they finally got things cooking, and I'd like to see them, turn over a couple more points before the World's break takes place.
Yeah. And we're downhill sled until then, Tesh. Just a few more games until that World's break in April. Big break there, and then just a couple games, and we're into the postseason. So downhill sledding right till the end of the year, guys. Thanks for sticking with us through it all and for listening every week here at Jocks and Jills. Appreciate our sponsors, Shark Ninja, Pizza, CCM. We love all of you. Thank you for helping us do this every week. You guys, thanks for listening. Like, you're the reason that we do this. We always love, going into the rink reminds me how much I love seeing all of you. I didn't even say this, but I did have my hairbrush, by the way, when I did that game in Ottawa.
I
haven't let my hairbrush die. Like you. Oh wait, there's actually 2 more things I have to say before this podcast ends to tie up loose ends. I brought my hairbrush to Ottawa. I brought it to Toronto. Legends never die. I will use my nubby hairbrush until it's dead. And We left you guys off the style rankings this week. Me and Buckles left
Yeah.
you and Emma
we know.
Malte off the style rankings.
Oh, we know.
And I have to admit, I have to say that Buckles sent it to me, and I was like, I've seen them both dress better. I know they both could have brought more. You could have brought more.
So I feel like, listen.
Like, I vetoed it. I need you to know. I want to admit right now, I
Here's the
vetoed
deal.
you guys.
I thought you were gonna like the shoes. Whatever.
I did like the shoes.
It was the night before or the day before, right? That this was confirmed. A day. And I had my entire family in town for March Break Madness.
I'm not knocking you, but I couldn't give you the pity ad. Like then like the rule, then
Totally
we just
fair.
get anarchy. Then everybody's going to want a pity ad in the style rankings.
No. And then I was just like, tell me what you're going to be wearing and I will follow. Are we matching or am I picking my own fit? Just let me know what you're wearing and I will try and go with like whatever it is that you're wearing. She was like, no, black on black denim. I'm wearing red pumps. I'm like, I don't wear high heels anymore. Like I'm 40 this year. I'm not doing high heels anymore. I'll do fancy flats. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do my gold medal winning high tops from 2010. She was like, so sick. She's like, bring a gold purse. I was like, no, I'm not carrying anything. Sorry. I don't have my kids. I'm carrying nothing.
Like maybe the gold purse and the gold pumps would have been the difference. I don't know. She tried to do it. But
She did. And I do
can't
have
believe
gold
I almost
pumps I could
forgot
have put
to say
on.
that.
Yeah.
See, like
don't
Emma's
know.
going to be mad hearing this now. You guys were so close. It was
We
just,
were.
I'd seen those
Just-
black jeans
Just
before,
like an
Tessa.
honorable mention. I don't know, Julia.
There could have been an honorable mention, but again, like how far do these go? Then we're like, the thing about the P-Dub is everyone dresses so well every week that me and Buckles are going through the photos and we're like, oh my God, like something's really got to stand out. You know what I mean? You almost
That's
got to
fair.
have something kind of weird going on to, I didn't mean weird. You got to have something notable going on because
Totally
everybody's dressed so well. Okay, I've extended this episode by like 10 minutes. I'm sorry. We love you guys. Follow us on social media where you can. YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, Blue Sky. You can find us at Jocks and Jills on any one of those platforms. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll talk to you Tuesday.